Good morning everybody, it's Chris from Student Education with the 4 Majors Notice update for the 4th of April 2011. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend and even better April Fools. And I hope all the mothers had a fantastic day yesterday. I know Nikki got spoilt, got a beautiful card from Connor in the post. And a really great day. Cracking on, let's have a look at the Euro US dollar on our CTC strategy template. Let's have a look at the daily time frame. Okay, daily trend up. 20 period moving average acting as a great support area for this pair as it's been moving further to the upside. A lot of people are scratching their heads as to why this has gained so much momentum when things across the board, i.e. Portugal and Euro, Ireland in particular, are so negative. But they're finally something to be happy about. And we've made tentative steps further and further to the upside, and what we've done is we've now tested the previous high for this pair, looking at here at roughly, what's that, 2500, and then Asian market trading, we've seen it poke its head above it, but we're still trading lower, very indecisive. And going into today, we need to see a close higher than 2500, ideally during the European session, so we can see an extension occurring into the latter part of the US session. So daily still long. CTC is in our favor for this time frame. However, going into the smaller time frames, you can see a bit of consolidation, especially on our 5 and 15 minutes, 30 minutes, also consolidation. There's definitely is a support area here and roughly around about 2200 on the 30-minute charts, which was prior resistance back on 31st, and we had a huge move to the upside on the Asian side, and then we just had seen a pullback. So this is almost like a fake out. Ideally we want to be seeing it, especially if we're going to see further extension to the upside, stay above 1422. Need to stay above here to see confirmation. Otherwise what we can do is see a potential pullback, and then we could look at anything roughly around the 1422 mark at least. So be aware of that. It's important price stays at least above 1422 for the latter part of today. Otherwise we can see a breakthrough and we could see price reverting back to about 1700 ish to start with. We've had a clear bounce between there, so be aware of it. Smaller time frames, just the consolidating. 5 minutes, you can see it's consolidating roughly around the 142200 I mentioned, or the 1421700. So price, if it's to remain bullish, needs to be breaking the Asian market high. Ideally we had one at 1 o'clock, but to break this consolidation, then trading at least above this resistance level that we've just seen, because it's past support and resistance. Yeah, roughly around the 142300 mark. Right above that's everything in our favor, and then we're looking at the high at 142600 on the 5 minutes to start with, and then higher as progression. You can see on the 50 minute we're seeing the moving averages not doing much. Price is playing around a bit with them, and ideally we don't want to be trading that. So just box it. Definitely want to see a break higher, 1423,500, and we could look at tops over here roughly around the 1425.60 mark for further extensions to the upside. Next one up is the sterling against US dollar. 1600 was our clear support and resistance level. Price remained above this, then we were going to see further extensions, and we've seen price pull back to this level in the past couple of weeks and bounced on it. Very indecisive. We were unsure if it was really going to. We had 2 days of indecision, and then we had a nice bullish engulfing, which is what I said we needed, and we've seen price revert to the upside because of that. It's trading above the 2 moving averages, and ideally we want to keep that momentum up, because then we could see price is testing a prior resistance level as we speak on the Asian market side, and going into the European session open this morning. Prior resistance, support, resistance, and then we've got another one over here. But ideally we can see price breaking above this area here, the high at 16,16166 today or this morning. Then we could see the US session taking it further, and then we could be looking at other areas, possibly 1625, another one above the 1633, 34 mark, and ideally way back up here at 163500. Okay, so needs to break first of all above the Asian high for us to see further extensions. You can see that we've had now a pullback and swing, so we know swing direction is in this favor now. So now it's hitting a resistance level. Ideally, if it's going to pull back, then it shouldn't pull back lower than the 50 and 20 period moving average line, which is a 23.6% fib retracement area. Stays above that today, then it's a clear indication that we've seen price continue to the upside. Intraday, you can see on a 4-hour, for example, support found at that 1600 mark. Little wicks, but 1600 did act as a great support, and we see a further bounce, and we've taken it further up to the upside. However, it needs to stay above its prior resistance level now to confirm further extensions. Indecision, then we've had a bit of a breakout. Can stay above 1300. Then we could look for further extensions to the upside. CTC is, this candle, this 4-hour candle is going blue, but it needs to obviously close first to give us a clear indication that it's trading above this little resistance level, and we could see further extensions to the upside. Same on our smaller time frames, the 35, and all positive, but we needed to clearly stay above 1300 for us to get any ideas of it trading further. Ideally, we want it for trade to go long, we need to be looking for price to be breaking at least a 16,165.50 mark at this level, adding your spread to that for further momentum to the upside. So clear indication needed to stay above 16.13 going into the US session to confirm further upside movement. Ideally, for trading long, we needed to be trading higher than 16,165, which is the Asian market high going into the latter part of today. US dollar Swiss franc daily, very bullish day on Friday. Price really climbed, and then during the latter part of the US session we saw price revert to the downside, and by doing so still closed lower than this prior support area. Same happened 2 days earlier on a Wednesday, climbed higher than this price support area but closed lower. However, this morning we're trading higher than Friday's close. We've pulled back slightly, but as long as we can stay above this line, then we're confirming that we've now broken this little intermediate resistance level that I mentioned last week, which was a real problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of headbanging against this level here at just around the 0.9200 mark, and then we saw a beautiful breakout. Ideally it didn't close, but we're seeing momentum now. You can see by that swing to the upside, now it's created that, and it needs to stay above this area now. Ideally this level here at 0.92340 for us to get an idea of further extensions, and then we could look at possibly the 0.93500 mark, which is the 50 period moving average, is our next target. Remember that CTC long term though on a daily is still very negative, primarily because we're still trading below the main trend line range, which is right up until the 0.945 mark. So still a long way to go. Still needs to break at least above the 50 period moving average in this time frame to show us that we are definitely long on a longer time frame. Intraday, we have seen some moves to the upside, and CTC is going to be showing you that on our smaller time frames. But ideally we wanted to stay above this area here, the 92.50 mark. So pencil that in, guys, on our smaller time frames. So we get used to this, putting these in. Needs to be trading above this 92.50, 100. confirm further upside to the upside. Otherwise, we could be looking for possible pullbacks. Look at that. We don't want that to be a problem, a fake out. We don't want to trade that. Okay. We want to definitely be seeing further movement in our favor. And by doing that, we want to capitalize very quickly on these moves. So you can see that momentum is to the upside. We did have a price support and resistance level at the 0.914 mark. So if price fails to break above 0.92500 going into the US session later this afternoon, we could see price possibly reattempting this prior support. So failure to break above here today or this morning could possibly see price reattempting that level going into the US session. Last pair of the day is the US dollar against Japanese yen. And you can see since the intervention, plus all the problems we've seen in Japan, with the earthquake, the tsunami, and now the huge nuclear issue, we've seen price, the Japanese yen really take a hammering. We're now testing a prior high resistance level at the 84.3 mark after the intervention, movement to the upside. 100% move of this is at the 85.1 mark roughly, but we've had a ceiling level before that, and we need to be trading above that obviously to confirm long term that we're looking at definite moves higher. If I can just show you weekly chart, you can see the 50 period moving average in play, so it needs to be closing higher than at least the 85.5 mark to confirm further upside. You can see that the US dollar has been in a very negative trend for this pair, and ideally we want to see it trading higher than that. But just remember, at roughly the 8600 mark, we have another resistance and price support. So it's going to be trading quite tentatively to the upside. But first rule of thumb, though, it needs to close obviously higher than this area here for us to even contemplate further movement to the upside for this pair. You can see that price managed to trade well high above this. US dollar gained a lot of momentum. In fact, the Japanese yen lost a lot of movements to all the pairs trading against it, and a lot of our students were able to profit quite significantly on this last week. And what's happened now is you can see the US dollar has managed to trade higher but did not close higher. Okay, so very important. Otherwise, what's going to happen is, because this is still in a negative trend, we could see the US dollar failing to break higher and just falling over, and then we should look for potential trades to the downside because of that. So it needs to trade higher than the 84.30 mark to start with before we can even consider looking for further longs intraday. Very, very important, because you can see in our intermediate time frames, you can see definite breakout, but there's a consolidation, so it needs to close higher than 84.30 or the 84.2500 mark. Very important. Otherwise, you can see the fake out, and then price can't break any higher. You can see that resistance, resistance, resistance. Price is still moving sideways higher, but what we do is we get a squeezing pattern forming now, and we've got to see a break now. CTC is in our favor, but we've got two candles giving us a heads up, heads up, heads up. We're not going to do anything until such time as it's broken nicely with a nice big bullish engulfing pattern to the upside, and then we could look at further extensions long. Otherwise, we could just see price failing to break above here, fake people then like it's done over here, and then just fall to the downside. We don't want to be part of that. 5 minutes, very messy, very consolidated. It's just consolidating at the moment now. So look at your 30 minutes. They definitely give you your indication. But you can see that we're now being squeezed between swings to the upside and the 50 period moving average. And because we CTC look for possible breaks higher than 84 and close higher at 84.35 at least, to definitely see further extensions to the upside for this pair. That's for today. Hope you have a fantastic trading day. Keep it simple, guys. Look at the bigger time frame. Look at what it's doing. Look at what has happened in conjunction where it is trading at this particular time frame in a daily time frame. So if it's trading quite close to a prior resistance level, or it's trading above a very strong support, then look for that bounce to occur higher. And if it's trading close to a resistance level, then look for potential pullback. to occur intraday. Okay. If we want to see a breakout of the resistance level, it needs to close higher going into the US session so we can see momentum drive when people start getting on the US session to the upside or to the downside, depending on which way price is moving. Very, very important. Trade with the institutions, not against them. Okay. Have a fantastic trading day and trade.